We're going to talk about defense today a lot today. And our first person we got with us today is the legendary defensive back, three-time national champion coach of the DBs. Plenty of pro players out there to go. Tyrone Williams, Keo Craver, Baron Miles, Tony Veland. The list goes on and on and on. It is Coach George Darlington.
Well, you pointed out that why I was still employed because of all the great players we had.
Now, Coach, you still in Lincoln. You got your family here. You got you look like you're in good spirits. I'm just happy to see you.
Well, it's great to see you.
Yeah, it's great.
You dress extremely well, by the way.
Well, they said
it goes great on radio.
they say the older you get fine as wine. So, Coach, I'm like a little premature wine, and not old wine like you, but a mellow wine. And Coach, I've been sober for 8 years now.
I know you have, and I'm really excited about that.
Yep. So, life gets better and things get to going good.
You don't look any better.
Well, I got my ticket family, Bach, Rashawn, AD, Raph, Nick, Mark, all us, Jake Sorensen, Steve, what a simple, and Coach Bush. This wonderful, wonderful group of people to work with.
Oh, yeah.
So, Coach, what you got going on? I know last time we talked to you, you had your football facts for the women.
Yeah, and I told the last segment the funny story about that. It used to be titled Football Facts for Women. Then Title IX happened. Well, the lawyers at KLIN, where I was, they were sponsoring the class, the lawyer said, you can't title the class that way because of Title IX. You can't discriminate by saying it's Football Facts for Women. You're discriminating against men. And, of course, we both got a big chuckle out of it, but he was right. So we had to change the name to Football Facts.
Any men been in your class? I know most of the women.
It's co-ed.
Yeah, okay.
We have at both locations men and women that come.
So where are you at? What days? When do it start? How do they get in touch with you? Just, blase, how you get it started?
Well, the first class in Omaha is next Tuesday night at Faithful Shepherd Presbyterian Church in West Omaha. Goes for 7 weeks. And then in Lincoln at the Southeast Community Tuck Building on Thursday, the 28th. And again, the course goes for 7 weeks every Tuesday and Thursday night. And one night we go down and tour the stadium. And it's my 39th year teaching the classes.
Oh, that's good, Coach. What's the after they pass the class, do they graduate or do you give them a certificate, or what kind of quizzes you have for them? Do you do like
I quiz them some and
sportsmanlike conduct? Do they got to call it, or do they got to know the hen single for that?
Well, we walk through plays and down through the years, we've had some interesting things happen. We used to use the stadium and we had dummies set up and we were teaching them how to run a blitz. And this one lady ran a blitz, fell, broke her arm. Okay, well, of course, we got her up and brushed her off and were concerned. The next week, she comes back to the class with a cast up to her armpit and all signed and everything. And she said, yeah, I went to the cocktail party after the game on Saturday, and the people want to know, well, how did you break your wrist? And she said, well, I broke it blitzing. And so we've had some funny situations during all those years. And I had one lady tear her ACL when she was tackled by two aggressive women. And, she just kind of brushed it off. And so we've had some interesting things happen.
Oh, That's nice. Bach, you got any questions for Coach Darlington?
Well, yeah, it seems
not football yet, not defense. We gonna
not
get on
defense.
that. We just his class. We out here promoting Coach D class.
Yeah, it sounds pretty fun. So what's what is the, I guess, the goal for somebody that comes out of the class? Like we already asked kind of about the testing and stuff, but is it just for to be a lot more knowledgeable on the defensive side, or you give some offensive tips too?
Oh no, we cover every phase of defense. Have a textbook that they get, and no, you name it, we go over it. And we get to look at clips from the previous Husker game, and then we get clips of the next opponent, so that when they go to the game or watch it on television, they already are familiar with who the opponent is and formations, etc. And we try to do, increase everybody's knowledge, even the folks that have taken it for a lot of years. We have a NFL official or a Big Ten official that takes the class in Omaha. So anytime there's an officiating question, I just turn to him. I said, okay, what's the rule? And he has reminded me that we did score against Minnesota, that the Big Ten reviewed the tape, and there's no question we got hosed and not getting that touchdown right before half.
That's not surprising, because that felt like the way it was on the field, but to actually hear from it, from an official, that does sting a little bit, I think. But
yeah, and there are unfortunate things that happen down through a career where officiating does affect the game.
Yeah, I try to stay away from the officials now. I went to a game last year, and I said something to one of them, and they got kind of mad.
Well, telling the truth is still pretty good, though.
Yeah, that's what they think. It was a bad call, ref. That's the only thing I said. And she looked. It was a woman ref though too. So
well, you took your life in your hands.
Yeah.
So how quickly do you do like prep for Louisiana Tech yourself before you get to teaching the class?
Well, the university sends me tapes before the game, and so I can review them before going to the classes, and then we'll show them at the classes too, the key plays, and we'll edit it out to where, okay, here's their formations and their favorite plays, etc. So it allows the students to be more knowledgeable when they go into the stadium.
Do you turn the lights off, Coach? Because you get some sleepers now these days.
Well, no, we give them snacks at halftime of our class. I can bore them without turning the lights off.
Now, Coach D, how can they get in touch with you? I mean, how can they get in touch with you? What's the best way to, contact you? Emails, phone numbers, mail in, anything that you got going on?
Well, they can call me if they're going to the Omaha class, 402-617-9666. And again, it's going to be at the Faithful Shepherd Presbyterian Church in West Omaha. And if they can't get in touch with me, just come next Tuesday night to the facility, and we'll check them in there. And then for Lincoln, they should just call Southeast Community College, and they will register them and then show up Thursday night.
Do they put you in a new building over there at SEC? Because we did a show over there about 2-3 weeks ago. And that's
this
a nice
one
building.
is on like 768.
Oh, okay.
It's not out at the main campus.
Okay.
But yeah, their facilities are really exploding.
Yes, today in the studio we have Coach George Darlington, who coached Nebraska for over 25 years.
30.
Oh, he made it a long time. That's a good run, Coach. Now, Coach, you been watching the guys this year?
Yes.
Now we just gonna stay on the defensive side for a minute though. But this defense,
a lot of practices.
Defensive unit looks great. Now they're young. They're playing with a lot of energy. what do you think they need to do to make them an elite defense?
Well, I think they need to just continue doing what they're doing and working to get a little bit better. They hustle. The thing I'm impressed with is they tackle extremely well. And of course, flipping the other side of the coin, the quarterback that played this last week, he hunted defensive backs up when he broke the line, and he hurt them. There were a lot of guys in the whirlpools at that school on Sunday. And no, they're doing a lot of very good things, and kids are hustling and playing and exceptionally good tacklers.
Yes, I feel you. Now, Coach, they run the 3-3-5. This is not your typical defense that's in the Big Ten. Do they get stronger as Big Ten play is finna hop? You're finna hop in the middle of Big Ten play now. Does this defense get stronger, or do they learn their weak spots when they play the top teams in the Big Ten?
The thing is that they do a tremendous number of things and different fronts and stuff like that. We were a 3-down line defense here from the 60s through the early 90s when we went to a 2-down lineman defense with 2 defensive ends, which gave us 4 linemen. But we changed our defense, and we ran a lot of stuff that they run. We just didn't categorize it that way. Excuse my phone ringing. But it must be my bookie.
Yeah, there you go.
But anyway, Rocky Long, who played at New Mexico or New Mexico State, when I was coaching in San Jose, I tried to recruit him and didn't do a good job. But that's basically his philosophy and scheme. But, you know, we ran 3-down linemen forever. And you have 2 defensive ends, so we called it the 5-2. Well, they do the same thing. They want 5 men on the line. They put some of those guys up. It's nice to act like it's something new, but you would be extremely familiar as a player. Oh, yeah, we ran this and we did that. We played over and under with linemen, and but we didn't have all the sexy names.
Yeah, we had the under bubble.
Yeah.
Under bubble 0.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's when we take the middle linebacker, put him up over the center.
Sure.
So that's when I scoot in and I play. It depends if the Sam's going to be on the line too, and it puts me in the middle and nobody can block me. So
we had to keep you clean because you're so frail.
Any questions about it?
Well, yeah, no, I did want to ask you about the rover position because I hadn't seen that since your days of coaching. Is when Nebraska used to use the rover as well. Is the 3-3-5 rover similar as well, or is that a bit different?
Yeah, what you do is match up with formations. Like when there was, a 2 tight end or a regular 1 tight end defense, you would have 4 DBs. They'd substitute in. We'd have a 5th defensive back. We called that the nickel. And then if they had no tight ends, we ran dime personnel. We had 6 DBs on the field. And then at the end of the game, if we were hoping to not let them hit a Hail Mary, we would even go quarter, nickel, dime, quarter. If we had 7 DBs, it was quarter. If we had 5 DBs, it was nickel. And it's just a matter of how you want to classify it and how you want to name it.
Now, why is it? I have noticed you around practice, and that's good to see. Coach Rule and inviting you back and such. But why has it been important for you to be close to this year's team and the new era of Coach Rule?
Well, I'm close to it because they're doing things that have to be done to get us back. Some of these previous coaches, after we got fired, maybe I'd go to one practice and try not to throw up and then not come back. No, but Coach Rule is doing the things that are are right that need to be done. And people in this state ought to really embrace him. He's in it for the long haul, and he's going to get it back and get it turned around. I have all the confidence in the world about him. We're fortunate to have him. And no, I wouldn't waste my time going down there to practice if it was a joke.
Now, Coach, offensive side, they're not doing too well. Jeff Sims, 7 turnovers in 2 games, ankle injury earlier this week. We called a young man Triple H or Double H. What's his name?
Heinrich Harburg. Yeah.
Heinrich Harburg. I call him Double H.
Yeah.
So a guy like this, now now Jeff Sims is obviously healthy this week, but is there such thing as a quarterback controversy right now? Because do you let the Double H go, or do you let the regular starter go?
Well, that's a thing. I'm glad I'm not a head coach, but it'll be interesting to see who starts the game. The other thing with all of our injuries, in my mind, it would be nice to have Sims be a slot back running back because he's a tough, hard-nosed kid, can really run. And I think that would really help our team as long as the young man, Double H, you call him?
Yeah.
That's good because I can't pronounce his name.
Me neither.
He and Purdy would be your quarterbacks, with Sims also maybe playing some. But I think Sims could really help the team in a lot of ways.
I'm kind of wondering, because I know with you guys, your quarterbacks took a lot of hits, obviously playing option, and you know, I'm sure that went along in practice too, as you practiced against it. Do you think that a quarterback like Sims or Harburg, I mean, they're big enough, do you think they could take over the long haul several hits if they have to be a key element in the running game for this offense to work?
Oh, yeah. I think there's no question that's another threat that other people have to deal with. Plus, if you had Sims, for example, as a slot receiver, then the other team has to be prepared. Hey, they got in essence, 2 quarterbacks on the field. He might run a reverse pass. You know, there's a lot of things you can do with him if he's on the field at another position besides just quarterback.
Yeah, those gadget plays can work out. I mean, I could see with their personnel, just both their quarterbacks are some of their best athletes on the team. So putting them back out there, how much of a headache would that be for the defensive side if you see that every couple of
thing you have to be. You're always prepared for a halfback pass, but sometimes you figure, okay, we'll practice it, but we don't expect it. Well, if you had both of them on the field a lot, you'd have to be prepared all the time, and the different things the offense could do with what amounts to a 2 quarterback system in a way. But you know, the young man Double H played very well this week, and the thing that impresses me is his physical attitude. Did you see him slide? No.
Kind of remind me of a Brooke Behringer.
Yeah.
Brooke was tough like that, because you can look at Brooke and say, oh, he's a pretty guy. He don't want to run anybody over. Yeah. But then once he get on the field, he's totally different.
That's exactly
nicest guy in the world off the field, but a different kind of leader on the field.
You're exactly right. You know, there's no question. You know, you look at a guy and say, oh, well, he'll would slide or whatever. These kids don't slide.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's a good thing,
because that's coach rules, attitude, and philosophy of building a tough physical football team like we used to have, because we had great players.
Now, Coach, speaking of college football in general, now you have the NIL, you have the transfer portal, and now you have Colorado here with Deion Sanders. Did Deion Sanders do the right thing about, you know, taking down the whole house and rebuilding it up from in less than 6 months? Is that going to be a common thing in football, you think, or do we still have the traditional way of getting players and developing or do they run to the portal fast?
Well, I hope that the developmental thing will pay off in a year or two because they're kids here in the state. The problem we have now compared to when I coached, you didn't have North Dakota State, South Dakotas that they could offer a Nebraska kid. But if we wanted them to walk on and ask them to walk on, most of the time they would walk on. They wouldn't take a scholarship. But now, those schools are very good, and the kid's not going to walk on here and turn down a scholarship to North Dakota State. Well, that hurts the quality a little bit of our walk-on program, but we're still getting a lot of walk-ons, and some of them will come out of the woodwork and be very, very good.
Do you? And you were known as a very effective recruiter. Would you enjoy? Do you think that the modern NIL questions, that sort of stuff? Would you enjoy recruiting today?
Well, I enjoy recruiting, but I certainly don't like the money thing. Unless a couple of schools have given every player the same amount of money, they kind of pulled it. But I'd be more to ask our host here. Okay, how would kids on the team feel if the quarterback's getting a pot full of money and they're getting $100 a week from somebody else? How would you handle that?
I don't know, because I feel some type of way now because they get $2,000 scholarship checks and we only got $387. So that's a big difference.
Oh, no question about it. And before you came here, the kids didn't get anything in addition, and it was a burden on some of the kids. To be honest with you, because a full scholarship wasn't full.
No,
it just was stated as full.
Yeah, no food on the weekend. You ever ate sardines and Roman noodles, Bob?
Not sardines.
Yeah, that was one of our favorite meals: sardines and Roman noodles. So these kids they get treated a lot better. But the thing I like about the old way is that we wanted it more, and we demanded perfection from ourselves more than the coaches demanded it from us, and that what made us a great unit, because we believed in every guy that was right beside us and the guy next to us, and that what made us a great dynasty for a long time.
Yep, very much so.
And speaking of that, I did want to ask you too, because I think, just because, especially for the younger generation, the narrative is written now. Tom Osborne, who you worked under, won 3 titles. You won 3 titles with him, but you were there for the entire ride. I mean, the 70s, the 80s, to get into the 90s. What was it like to not quite get that title? How did it just feel like all the work would paid off when you finally won the first title in 94?
Yeah, and we played for it an awful lot.
Yeah, that is
in the
true.
80s, and there were one game where the officials were in the tank for Clemson. When they had an officials meeting with Coach Osborne and the head coach at Clemson, when the officials came in and hugged the other coach, we knew we were in trouble. And if you look at that game, we had an awful lot of penalties. And, they were a good football team. I'm not saying they weren't, but, sometimes and very seldom, but sometimes the officials are crooked. And that's not a nice way on radio to say it, but they are.
Yeah, you won't. We'll pay your fine, Coach.
We went. Well, we beat South Carolina down there, and it was a split crew, and the Southerners were fighting the Civil War, and every time we do something good, there would be a flag out, or they'd throw a bounce pass and they'd call it complete, and it was just by accident that we ended up winning the game because they ran a play at the end, and we forced a fumble, recovered, then went down and scored, and the officials couldn't take it away. But the Big 8 official on Monday, when he talked to Coach Osborne, because I blasted the officials on the call-in show afterwards. Today I would have been fined and suspended, but the Big 8 official said, Coach, he said everything he said on that interview was correct. And he said our officials, they didn't know what to do. They knew what was going on, but there was only 3 of them and 4 of the guys singing Dixie.
Now, Coach, we probably going. I know you're a busy man, but this is my last one. This is my last question, and you probably
Should I say no before.
You probably won't answer it, but I'm just gonna ask it though. If you had to name the top 5 corners and the top 5 safeties you ever coached at Nebraska, who would it be?
Well, the nice thing that I can say about that question,
yes,
is I was blessed with so many really good players that I would be missing some of them. The one player I will mention is Baron Miles. Baron was 5'10", ran 4.6, no better than 4.6. As competitive of an individual as I've ever been around. And I had guys that were 1st and 2nd round draft choice guys. He went 6th round or 7th. But I would hate to say, because literally I was blessed with so many guys. I had 5 first-team All-Americans as coaching outside backers before I moved to secondary. And again, that was because of their ability, the Nebraska way of practicing, the repetition and all that. Now, I would hate to try to identify who was the best and who was the worst. I would say, I'll take another name, a guy that was really good was Ralph Brown. But with our secondary, he's the guy worried about getting beat, because all the other guys in the secondary honestly were more athletic than him, but he was a great competitor.
Yeah.
And that's why, boy, to try to pick out, well, this guy went in the 1st round. Yeah, I had some 1st rounders. I had a 2nd rounder because he shot a bullet here in Lincoln.
Tyrone Williams.
Yeah, I thought that.
I still talk to him every other week.
He thought the people in the car were going to try to kill him, and otherwise he'd have been in the 1st round. I would leave people out if I tried to do that. Yeah. And I'll only say that I was blessed to have so many good players that I coached.
Well, those guys are corners, Coach. Let me hear a couple of safeties that you want to mention in this dialogue we're trying to get to.
Well, safeties, Eric Warfield was a rover safety, Mike Brown, etc. The funny story I'll tell you about him was he got drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs to play corner. Well, the coach called me on draft day afterwards and said, Coach, why didn't you play him at corner? And I wasn't being a smarty, but I said, Coach, we have a lot of good players. I can't put everybody at corner. And that was honestly the thing I said. I wasn't trying to be a smart aleck, but we were blessed with 6, 7 kids in that area. Yeah. But Warfield, they all went to the league.
Yeah, because Warfield bounced around. He was at Sam at one time. Yeah. Then he went to, I think he was a free one. Was he a free safety? Yeah. So he's lined up pretty everywhere on the field.
Oh, yeah. When we went in our substitution package, he'd be a rush outside linebacker. No, and the coach, I know they figured, well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, but we were just blessed with a lot of very good players. Michael Booker, for example, was drafted in the 1st round. Well, because he was a great bump and run corner. I had NFL coaches said, Coach, we wouldn't even draft him because they played off and all that. And, they said, well, we don't think he's that good. Well, the one team thought he was good enough to take him in the first round,
Mm-hmm.
and because of the skills that he could do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had fun with Barron when I was at a scrimmage when they scrimmaged the Steelers,
Mm-hmm.
and he was up there playing bump and run. And after the game, of course, we got together, and he started laughing. And I said, "I saw you play bump and run." I said, "I wouldn't even dare play up there. You were so quick as a cat playing off. Nobody could beat you." And we had a good laugh that the pro team was letting him play bump and run.
All right, Coach. Well, we're going to take it to break, and we appreciate you, Coach. It's my honor to have you on this show
Well,
anytime
thank
you
you for
want to.
letting me.
I think Rashawn will feel the same way. All the listeners probably, they love listening to you. Yeah. But thank you, Coach. We thank you a lot.
Good, and I hope they'll take the class.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
yeah, absolutely.
That's right. Football Facts 2023, Omaha area, Lincoln area, Coach Darlington,